Hello, everybody. I hope all is well. I am Demetra K. I hope you're having a great day. Sorry, I was a little bit late. Got a lot going on. Trust me, I'll tell you all about it one day. But nevertheless, I should say that the purpose of the Demetra K show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like I said, big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Also, thank you to my wonderful moderators for all that you do in holding down the comment section. It is much appreciated. So today we're going to be talking about a Latino man saying that most African Americans, that's what he said, African Americans, right, cause most of the problems in America. So we're going to watch him say that, right? Should say that he is under fire. And then we're going to break it on down. So I'm going to just give everybody else a chance to come on in here, and surely we will get started. So, of course, you guys know that this Christmas week, although I do not celebrate it, I am going back home, California, to spend some time with my family. So, not sure if I'll be here tomorrow because my flight does leave tomorrow. But I might have some time to go live or whatever. But, you know, usually the last day that you have the moments you have before you travel, you gotta like do everything. So I hope that I am able to come on. If not, I'll definitely, pop in here and there and things like that. So everybody, please enjoy whatever it is you're going to be doing out there. I should also say that here in Houston, it is hot, like 80 degrees. 80 degrees in the wintertime is crazy, right? Give or take. And it's supposed to be like that for a couple of days. Now, of course, I should say that in California, Southern California to be exact. So let's, cross all of our fingers and toes that I get there. But they're going to have a storm starting tonight. It's like supposed to be historic, right? Where they're dumping all this water. They being Mother Nature, dumping all this water, and it's going to flood and all that kind of stuff. So, I'm hoping that I'm able to get there. So, and get there safely on top of that. So let's see, who do we have here? Cloudness, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Albie Chill, nice to see you again. I saw you too, Cloudness, earlier. Brother Don, what's going on with you? Affectionate Earth, hope you're doing well. Get you Dan Buford, how you doing? Michelle, what's going on with you? And Kay Washington, hope you're doing well. King Noble in the building as well. Magneta, how you doing? The other time we were on here, I saw your comments, but I guess maybe you thought you were blocked. I didn't block you, but you weren't blocked, by the way. So I just say that. I know sometimes it takes me a long time to kind of get to the bottom of the comments or whatever the case is. I'm just looking at somebody sent me a text. But yeah, I will eventually get to your comments. So anyway, a lot going on with me. Like I said, one day I will tell you about it. I just can't talk about it right now because I'll start crying. So I will tell you guys eventually. But nevertheless, let's see who else. T. Austin, how you doing? Dear self, what's going on with you? And Magneto says I'm about to have 9, technically 12 days off. Woohoo! One who cares, how you doing? Hope that you're doing well. And John, what's going on with you? Says a community outreach associate, Phelan Parkway, the Bronx, New York. All right. Well, hello there. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started for the sake of time. Anyway, as I was scrolling through the internet, I came across this video of a man who happens to be under fire, right? He's a Cuban man, to be exact. And he doesn't like Black people too much. He says African Americans, right? Now, we know we call ourselves Black Americans, but to them, we're all the same. Well, he doesn't like African Americans very much. He likes some, but most, no. He doesn't care for them. Of course, he's going to tell us why. But Mr. Robert Alvero, that's his name. He is a school board member on the Clay County School Board in Florida. I guess he took to his live on Facebook. People get on there and say all kind of stuff. And I guess maybe, I don't know if he thought nobody would be watching or whatever it is. And whoever watched, they caught this part of it. So here we go.
80% more negative experience with the African American community in this country than with white people. That being said, doesn't mean I haven't had good experiences with African American people. I have met a lot of great African American people, and I still friends with them because they're good, decent people. But that's the 20% of the people I have met, the African Americans. The other 80%, they're being nasty, they're being rude, They've been problematic, always trying to fight, always disrespecting. So why would I want to be around people like that? No. So I understand where Nick Fuentes is coming from. Also about what Nick Fuentes says, that everybody has a little bit of racism on them. I agree. I am Cuban. And sometimes I feel I am racist against my own people. Because we have our own personality, our own culture that a lot of other people don't like. I learned how to be an American. So right now, I'm not even similar to my own race. So that's why sometimes I don't like to be around them.
Well, all right, Baldy Locks, tell us how you really feel, right? So anyway, again, that man's name is Roberto Alvero. So it should be said that he is under fire. Of course, the school board has said that, well, it's under investigation. We're looking at it. We're going to see, blah, 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 right? So nevertheless, I'm not quite sure where that is. Maybe it's Miami. It sounds like maybe it is. But anyway, as you heard him say, he's Cuban. And he gets along with 20% of the African Americans. Again, those are his words. But 80%, 80% are nasty, rude, problematic, gets in all the fights, disrespectful. Basically, we causing most of the problems. And he says he likes white people. They, white people, they don't do all of that. I guess, right? So Black Americans, African Americans, we are the problem. Then, of course, he admitted that he has some self-hate, that, even some of my young people, I don't even like them. Now, again, if you get a gander at him, and let me put him up and I'll stop it once again.
80%.
Shut up. So anyway, if you can look at him, he appears to be more on the lighter side of things, right? He appears to be more on the lighter side. So he says, I don't even like, he's racist against his own people. Well, of course, and I think I saw somebody saying something in the comment section, if you know the history of Cubans, especially when they were in Cuba under Bautista, right? The president that was overthrown by Fidel Castro. There was a lot of classism and things like that. And what do you call it? Caste system in a sense, like the lighter versus the darker. Of course, there's dark Black Cubans over there. Well, the white presenting ones, they tend to have all the money and all the great things. And they was like, beat it to the Black Cubans, right? So again, when Bautista was overthrown, his regime per se in 1959 or something like that, by Fidel Castro, and Che Guevara helped him do it, right? There's a lot of white Cubans that's like, oh no, we ain't standing here for that, because the premise of Fidel Castro's regime was like, okay, we are going to participate in communism, Marxism per se. We're going to spread and make it even, right? The wealth. We're not going to have this super rich, population and super poor, because that's what it was. And so they're like, nah, we're going to make things even. And with that, they brought, just made Cuba better in a sense, right? For Cubans. It made it to where there wasn't all this extreme poverty and things. Okay, so great. People like him and probably his mom and daddy, and bald-headed granny, they left to America, right? They fled. They went to Miami. They're like, oh, we're not staying for this. So, of course, when they got over to Miami, they got over there, and more of them. And America, in a sense, was more welcoming to them because they were white Cubans. Now, the Haitians and people who were dark, because they had like this, well, I think there was a policy called wet foot, dry foot, to where, I don't know, depending on where you came from, or I don't know, I don't want to mess it up. But so anyway, the white Cubans were able to stay. And then, of course, in Miami, places like that, they got a super majority. So then they built politically and a whole host of things. And then they still brought those same dead thinking ideologies over there into America with them. And so they just were anti-Black per se, even though they're Cuban and they're white presenting, they were anti-Black. And they began to practice anti-Blackness in Miami, and they still do. You heard it out of his own mouth. Like, this dude is a school board member. Okay, he's a school board member, and he hopped on his live and to lament about how, he really just does not like most of Black Americans, right? African Americans. But then when you think about that, it's like, well, that's kind of odd, because you jumped on your live knowing you're, have a job or elected official, whatever it is, on the school board, and you didn't think that anything would happen to you. So I thought about that. I was like, well, why wouldn't you think anything would happen to you? because most of the people on the school board probably look like him. They probably think like him. Y'all remember in Los Angeles, the city council members there, the board members were mostly Latino, and they got caught talking bad about black people and their own darker people, the Oaxacans, right? They made comments like one of the board members were with the blacks. He's with the blacks. They even said something about one of the board members' adopted son, calling him a monkey and all that kind of stuff. And they did not want to do for the Oaxacan population of Los Angeles, right? So they got caught. Took them a long time, and finally they resigned, okay? So that attitude as far as them thinking that they're white and hating even people that look like them or that are darker than them, that's nothing new. It's kind of part, and it's like that in our race as well. But nevertheless, also when they got to Miami, they were like, well, this is what they thought, right? And it's kind of true to a tiny bit. Black Americans, well, they align with the leftists. They are Democrats. And what do people think about Democrats? And I'll take him down because I'm tired of him. What do people think about Democrats and black folks? We go together real bad, right? We go together like peanut butter and jelly. And so with that, we know that the Democrat Party, they are considered to be more on the socialist side of things, right? And I'm not saying this is true, but like, well, maybe in a sense, handouts, there with all the social programs and things like that. Of course, we can see the juxtaposition of that with the Trump administration. Now they're cutting all these programs, even with the food stamps. They want to see all the who's on food stamps in every state, and they want to do all these cuts. You know, the able-bodied people, which I agree with, they have to get off. And so the Cuban community is like, well, blacks are they're the party of socialism. They want all these freebies and the white Cubans and these handouts. So we don't mess with them. Because again, they came from Cuba, the white ones where they were, you know, the hoity-toity people of society. You know, we have all the riches and all the money, and you peons have nothing. So they were pissed. They were pissed that Fidel was able to overthrow that, right? So that's how they got over here, and that's how they have that anti-black attitude. Now, I want to put this up, because most of y'all are probably familiar with this picture, and if you're not, well, it basically is a 1960 Fidel Castro and his administration. Mind you, they had just overthrown Bautista. So United States, they're not happy with it because they didn't want Fidel to take over, because Fidel was like, listen, United States of America, y'all not coming over here and doing the stuff you were doing, using this as, you know, the playground and doing all the nonsense that you were doing, just here, right? So Fidel was like, you're not coming over here doing all of that. So while he was trying to stay at the Hotel Teresa, the United States government was, you know, putting the call into Hotel Teresa, like, yeah, make it hard for them. Don't let them stay there, this, that, and the other. So the meeting between Malcolm X and Fidel Castro was actually, you know, pretty brief. But Malcolm X and some of the other leaders in Harlem was like, bet, we'll put y'all up. We'll find a place for y'all to stay and this, that, and the other. Now, it was seen as more of a symbolic gesture, if you will, between, and I'm going to say this loosely, black and brown unity, because in a sense, Fidel, they knew that our struggles, when I say our struggles, the Cubans that were left behind or stayed behind, and black Americans, we had the same struggle as far as oppression and things like that. Again, that's why he overthrew the previous regime, trying to make things better. And he also knew what black Americans were going through. Now, another person that is in this equation, I don't have a picture of, I should have, but Che Guevara. Let me take them down. Che Guevara, you know, he admonished the United States of America in regards to black Americans, because he felt like, how in the hell y'all trying to be a beacon of freedom when you all are treating your black citizens the way you're treating them, right? Like, you allow the people who unalive them per se to go walk away free, and y'all just do all kind of things to black folks there, and y'all trying to represent freedom. He's basically like, I don't think so. How can you, you know, tell anybody anything the way y'all treat black Americans? Again, this was Che Guevara. He helped, you know, Castro overthrow the Bautista regime, if you will. But Che Guevara also predicted that the UN one day would guarantee or that the UN would, I guess, get the USA to do things for black Americans to like kind of make it right. Now, we've heard rumblings about it from the UN in regards to reparations and things like that, but this is something he said like 1964. Now, of course, we know, again, with the relationship between U.S. And Cuba, they were pissed off at Fidel because he wasn't supposed to do what he did. You know, Bautista went fleeing off, and so the United States, with the Bay of Pigs, tried to take Castro out. Got all these names in my head. Tried to take Castro out, but it failed. Right? They were on to the United States. They were trying to overthrow the government so they could get back in there. And Fidel, we know, stayed in there a very long time. So I brought all that up to say is that the Cubans that stayed, Fidel and all of them, they understood. They had a commonality with Black Americans because they saw what the white Cubans were doing over there and how they felt about them. So back then, yeah, they understood, yeah, we probably would be better together type thing. But of course, we know that relations between Black and Browns now is very strained. I don't know if it'll ever be a thing. Ideally, it should be, right? Again, sort of kind of the same struggles depending on where you come from. But there's this man here feel like he can get on his live and talk greasy about Black Americans. But the truth of the matter is he is only over, really probably more so over here because of the struggle of Black Americans. But, you know, and then again, he's talking about Nick Fuentes. If you know who he is, he talks bad about Black folks, talks bad about a lot of people, but he really does not like Black Americans, and he uses the N-word freely, right? And all those things, and he agrees with him. But again, he's on a school board talking like that about Black people. Now, I would imagine there are some Black students at that, you know, district that he's over. And so to me, it's like, school board, what are you waiting on? That's him, right? You recognize his bald head from the back, so it's no mistake as to who he is. So what do you need to investigate? He said Black Americans, African Americans, rather 80% of us are nasty, rude, fight all the time, disrespectful. He likes whites better and all this other stuff. So again, something tells me that they all feel the same way on that school board. Well, we got to figure out a way to try to say we disciplined him, but we, you know, we're not going to get rid of him, but, you know, we took care of it. We can't tell you exactly what we did, but we did something. We did something, you know. So to me, that's scary that he's able to do that. And you ought to see that man sweating or stuttering, you know. But again, that's another case of Black Americans ain't did nobody nothing. We've done nothing to anybody. You deem us to be your problem? Because again, he gets along with 20% of them. And I shudder to even think what those 20% of Black folks he get along with, who they are and how they think, you know, maybe like the Candace Owens and your Officer Tatum's and your Anton Daniels. Maybe they're those types. Something tells me they are. I don't know. But yeah, you're trying to deem African Americans, in his words, to be the problem. And we've done nothing to you. You brought your anti-Black self and your ideologies over here and think that you can get in a position to talk greasy about Black Americans. But this is the rub. He is in a position to do that. He's in a position to do that because he has some position of power in the school. And I've never been to Miami. I don't know if I ever want to go, but I've never been. But I know that it's predominantly, you know, Cubans. And as far as I understand, right? And a lot of them look like him. So they get into these political positions, right? All mayors and all kind of stuff, right? And they think like that. And they legislate like that. So what we as Black Americans can take from that is, hey, do what the Cubans is doing. Now we might want to leave off the racism, you know, not that we have the ability to do that. Now he, in a sense, and not even in a sense, but in real time, he has the ability to practice racism. Why? Why does he have the ability to practice racism? Because he's what? In a position of power where he can do something negatively to a group of people because he wields some power along with that school board. And then, you know, his people that are in these positions of power. So the Black folks that live in Miami, you know, very well maybe, and I think that they are experiencing racism in real time by white presenting Cubans simply because they have anti-Black ideologies that they brought from the motherland, their motherland, right, over here, and they just keep on with it. But yeah, very bold, out live and in living color, talking about how Black Americans, African Americans are most of the problem in America, and he like white folks. So it remains to be seen. Will he lose his job? It's been some time now, a couple of days. I look, doesn't sound like he's been fired. So to me, I don't think he'll be fired. I think they'll put out a statement. Most of the community that he probably serves looks like him, and it's like, what you gonna do about it? Yeah, the NAACP, they'll show up. All you need is accountability. We need some accountability. But those folks are gonna be like, who gonna make us? Who gonna make us be accountable? What power do you have to make us hold us accountable? You more than likely don't have a majority here. We ain't getting up off of these seats. And while we in these seats, we gonna make sure our people get the getting all that there is to get. And if they're racism and they're practicing racism against your black self, what you gonna do about it? Oh, nothing. You're not gonna do nothing. NAACP, right? Y'all show up and for black folks, but then y'all do real things for other people. So nobody's scared of the NAACP, because I know they'll be in the mix if they haven't been already. And all these other, local black leadership, instead of saying, hey, black folks, let's vote responsibly. Let's get people in there that look like us. Let's get people in there that's going to do for us like the other people do for them. But all that ranting and raving and trying to force, the white Cubans to do something and stop being racist, good luck. So anyway, let me see what y'all got to say. Thank you for bearing with me. But I just thought that was very interesting, And I think he did, by the way, he made an apology. He says it was taken out of context. How do you take that out of context? We heard what you said, homie. There was no reading between the lines. You said we are most of the problem. We nasty, we rude. How do you take that out of context? Like, I mean it in a nice way. I didn't mean it like nasty. I just meant nasty. Like, how? So, and I don't even care if they fire him or get rid of him, whatever, because what is that really going to do? They'll just get another person in there that thinks and talks like him. So, yeah. Okay, let's see. Who else? Where did I leave off? Kay, how you doing? So he won't talk about the drugs and trafficking, violence, fraud, and etc. they are doing in this country at home. No, they ain't gonna talk about that, because it's easier to talk about Black Americans and what we doing, right? You go on X, which is one of my least favorite forms of social media. Go on X and there's black people, there's black people, that black people, there's black people, the 13% of the black people that's, and it's like all that debauchery y'all got going on. You find the time to talk about Black Americans? Surely you just, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, they're not gonna talk about the stuff that they're doing. Of course not. Ocean Moon, how you doing? So what? He can go home. Something tells me he ain't going over there no time soon, right? A child of God, how you doing? Once again, says he's white Latino. Oh, for sure, all day long. I mean, y'all heard him say he don't like his own people. We know who those people are, the ones that look black. Tiny, how you doing? Says right, send them back to crumbling, broken down Cuba. Yeah, of course, we know that the United States they put sanctions and things like that on Cuba that are there today, even still, right? Embargoes and stuff, trading. It's just a lot. But Fidel, he stood 10 toes down. He said, I don't care. We don't need to drive your funky cars anyway, right? We'll do what we got to do, but you're not coming over here and running roughshod through my country. So, yeah. Keno says, shut up, you just crazy, Enrique. You know that man name is Robert. And it's probably Roberto, but because he want to be white, it's Robert. It's probably wearing tidy whities and a whole host of things. Anthony, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Black America in the building. How you doing? Says there's nothing wrong with what he is saying. Of course you would say that. Of course you would say that. I mean, but what do you find that right about what he's saying? If you don't mind me asking, I'm kind of scared. But Sunlight, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Nice to see you once again. Earth, Ocean Moon says I will bite for Donald Trump. Oh, I will vote for Donald Trump. Yeah, that's them. Raven, how you doing? Says, well, he hates himself. Yeah, he don't see them like him, right? So that's why he could proudly say, even my young people, he don't like them either. Okay. Obadiah, how you doing? Says he act like people want to be around him. You know what I'm saying? He probably funky. He look funky. He doing. I'm not saying like racial. I don't even know racially funky. What is racially funky? I don't know. I'm not going there, but yeah, he looking like he musty or something. Like, smell like a 14-day-old tuna or something. I don't know. Uh, yes, Kay, he is a school board member sitting up there making all the decisions about the blacks. Hey, I was out thinking, how you doing? Says he literally told on himself, how can you get along with anyone when you hate yourself? Yeah, but he don't see them other Cubans like him. They're not like me. They're not like us. You know? See, not like us. John says Cubans for Trump. Yeah. That one lady who was singing that song, her husband got out of here. She's like, yeah. Why? It's like, the man told you, now you knew damn well your husband was riding dirty. I know he was up there probably, playing the drums or the bongos or whatever, and you up there singing, and the man was telling you him and Tom Homan, you're getting the hell up out of here when we get in office. And what are the tears for, ma'am? Where's the shock and all? Like, why are you surprised, Yeah, Nikki, how you doing? So it explains their racism against black. Yes, that's why I kind of went back to Cuba per se, to explain why they think that way. They see Black Americans like the Black Cubans that they ran from, because they're really pissed off. They're really pissed that, what do you mean? We're gonna share the wealth. What do you mean you're gonna close the wealth gap? You mean they're gonna be in the same places and spaces as us? And they left. Literally, that's why. XT, how you doing? You says, what? I ain't never heard that name for him before, but you said Latinos for lack of better words. Freddie, how you doing? Facts Not Feeling, what's going on? It says, peace and love, family. U.S. government is trying to blockade Cuba and send guys like him back. FBA should renounce what Dr. King fought for in 1968 and rescind all laws that allow for guys like him. I think it meant to be in the USA. Yeah, Trump is saying, Trump don't really be reading like that. He don't study history. He just kind of do what the puppet masters tell him to do. So he ain't familiar with why they're even over here, right? Because they think, oh, Trump, I'm white like you underneath you, but because you're orange on top, but we're white like you. So yeah, DM, how you doing? Says they allowed to smuggle drugs. Kind of explains why they side with white in prison and why they claim white on census and job applications. So you said you saying, I don't know about what they smuggling in over here, but yeah, they don't, well, I don't want to say most, but a lot of Latinos see themselves as white. They do. And y'all know I used to work for the census, right? And so yeah, I would see some of them say I'm white. Okay, Maria. Audie Head, how you doing? Since last time I checked, FBA wasn't deporting anyone. No, we don't have anything to do with that now. That might be some people calling ICE, but let's see. Soul Glow, how you doing? So the whole law was if Cubans foot. There you go. Thank you, because I don't want to mess that up. So the whole law was if Cubans' foot touched land before the Coast Guard, yes, catches them, they got status. That's what it is, right? So which is why you see, like, a lot of times when they be spotting these little boats and stuff off the coast or whatever, and they kind of, in a sense, pushing back because they're like, nah, because that was, and I don't know if Trump has changed it. If you make it, and then even the Biden administration, right? We've seen all those Haitians come over here and they was like, we don't care. We don't care if you got on dry land. You getting sent back. So yes, if you make it, then okay, you get to go through asylum and all that other stuff. But if they're like, you don't make it, because Clinton did that a lot. He was like, push the boat back in the water. So yeah, thank you so much. I didn't want to mess that up. JL Lowdown, JL Downtown, how you doing? Says he need to go back on the line. Is that what that is? Mike, I didn't say hi to you already. I know I saw you earlier, but hello. All right, so let's see. Mandy, how you doing? Says President Trump and white MAGA, he says, I think what MAGA want Cubans deported, yet they are afraid to say anything to MAGA. Says they voted for President Trump thinking they would be viewed as white Americans. They are furious. The man's, for me, Trump said what he was going to do. Did he not? He said, when we get in, we're doing a mass deportation. When I say we, I mean me, Tom Homan and ICE and border, we mass deportation. Okay, they wanted 2 million people, legal immigrants, out of here by the end of the year. Now they say they have passed that. I don't know how true it is, but that's what they say. So when you heard this man, or maybe you wasn't listening, maybe you got caught up in, macho man, or YMCA. Maybe got caught up in all of that. I don't know. But the man, he said he was going to do that. And by golly, he did. I don't know why they're mad. Mr. South Carolina, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Facts I'm Feeling says white Cubans got a lot of free handouts in the U.S. when they came here. They did, right? So they're like, well, don't you blacks. Now, mind you, the blacks were here before them. You know what I mean? So y'all coming over here, and I talked about this earlier on the African Diaspora News Channel in Los Angeles. Y'all coming over here trying to pull rank, talking about what you can and cannot do and what you can and cannot have. It's like, excuse me, we were here first, right? But again, they come over and they organize, and they who bang against Black Americans, and the rest is history. You also say they also were heavy in illegal substance sale. Yes, that is the word on the curb. Edward, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Facts I Feel says it's not a black and brown unity as much as it was black and socialist unity. Yes, I now that I get. I do get that, because it was kind of the same struggle, equality, right? And economics, equity. That's what it was, what it was, right? Because Black Americans, of course, no equality as far as financial and systemic and institutional, the same thing over there. So correct. I like that, actually. Beverly White, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Let's see, who else haven't I seen? And then I promise I'll start reading everybody else's comments again. Kevin, how you doing? Says Fidel seemed like he was a G. Yeah, him and Bautista, and of course that kind of in a way went that way. There's a lot of stories behind what happened, but yeah, they was like, we taking this thing down, right? And they did. They were very successful, and they did improve a lot of things for Cubans over there. The reading level was at like 90-something%, but before that, it was like very low. So they made life better for everybody, and Bautista didn't want that, and the United States government didn't either. They tried to take him out. Bay of Pigs, right? They tried to take him out, sent the CIA over there, and it was like, nah, it ain't gonna work. So yeah, they were pretty salty with Fidel. They were salty with Fidel until he died. He stayed in that position a long time. See, because over there they ain't like term limits where. So yeah, Adi says have to step out for a moment, but stay up. My FBA people in the chat love you, Demetra. I love you too. Thank you. You're probably gone by now, but JJ. Did I say hello? And if not hello, it says Castro and Che were the closest thing to a brown ally FBA ever had. I would agree with that. They understood, they're like, we see what y'all, most people in other countries see what the United States is doing to Black Americans, and they call them out. They're like, y'all all up and over in other people's country talking about humanitarian, issues, or we got to go over there because they're mean to their people, right? They said that about Muammar Gaddafi. Oh, look what he's doing to his people. We got to go over there. It's like, look what you're doing to your people. That's what most people will say. But, United States, the big bad bully, they're going to go and push everybody around. Of course, we know it wasn't about the people, especially there in Libya. It wasn't about the people. Because if it was about the people, then why don't you go back over there and deal with all the real slavery that got going on over there? This trafficking of all kinds, the destabilization. If you care about the people, why did you just go in there and take out Mormon and then leave? And then, hey, it ain't about the people no more? Of course not, because it was never about the people. It was about, what Gaddafi was trying to do. So, yeah. I can dig it. Corey, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Nadine, what's going on? He says, we don't give a rat nor a damn about how Latinos feel about Black Americans who are the original copper, brown, Aboriginal, indigenous, Indian people of America. You said a mouthful. You said a mouthful there. Thank you, Mike, for asking everybody. Telling them there's ways to donate to the channel. Appreciate you for that. Sharon, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Okay, so Giant says Miami. He's in Miami, okay? DM says all this obvious hate, bigotry, racism aimed towards us in 2025 going in to 2026 should let us know that there's definitely something to envy about us as individuals, and we must bring our units together. Yeah. We should, right? Kay says they never get fired. They get reassigned. Yeah, I don't think they're not going to do anything to him. Hey, Mad Dog. Buckhorse, where have you been? You've been missing in action. Where have you been? Mandy say, what is his name so we can reach out to the school? Demetra, you always say, what are we going to do? Right? Yeah, his name is Robert Alvero. So Alvero. Robert Alvero. Clay County School Board in Florida. So yeah. See what happens. They've had people reach out to him, but we're looking into it. I'll be just that some of our people still need a wake-up call with some of these folks. Oh, a lot. You would not believe how many. Kevin, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Quan, how you doing? So, dear FBA Freeman family takes great care and best wishes upon this new year. So take care and best wishes upon this new year ahead. Remember, each of us play a part in our liberation. As long as you stay on code, no reparations, no vote. There you go. You're absolutely right. We all have a job to do. Whatever you can do in trying to liberate Black people, then you should do it. So I love that. Thank you. What? Corey says, shut up, Ice favorite. Lady D, how you doing? Says, well, he should go back to his country and make his country better. It's too easy to be over here. You can pretending that you're white, Over there, they mean that they got to get in where they fit in type thing. Ain't no you better because you white. You look white. He still had a heavy accent from what I can hear. So how long have you been over here, sir? So yeah. Mikey says, take his ass on somewhere Tuesday. Pop, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Abigail says, oh my God, I will vote for Donald Trump. Yeah, but you know what the crazy part is? They probably still will vote for somebody who thinks like Donald Trump, like JD Vance, if he gets in. Sounds like Turning Point USA or somebody. They said they would back JD Vance, if he would have run for president. Okay. Gold Crown Eyes speaking. How you doing? Says, I'm on rewind. Okay, so that means you're catching up. Yes, Nadine. Black Americans built this country. Yep. Pop. Yeah, Trump. I don't think Trump could read. Because he don't read the teleprompter at all. It's like, so we're very, very, very. We're doing a very, very good job. We're having great numbers. Do you know that turkeys are down? Yes, they said turkeys are down 22%. Oh, and by the way, isn't she beautiful? Stand up, Pam. She's beautiful. It's like, dude, read the teleprompter. Cynthia, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. This fine evening, Shan, what's going on with you? He says, wow, you really said you really don't like his own people. Yeah, that's what he said. At least he's honest, right? At least he's honest. Tony, how you doing? Says most of them okay. Pam, how you doing? Says Merry Christmas to you and your daughter. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I do not celebrate, but I'll take the sentiment nevertheless. Thank you. And back at you. T.G. Hamilton, how you doing? And where have you been? He says, what a joke. Black Americans are 13% of the population. If we are all mysteriously left the planet, their problems would continue. We built this nation for free, and most of our problems are systemic. Absolutely. But they got to, I guess we're the punching bag of the world, the United States, I don't feel good about myself. So pow, 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 pow. I'm going to punch on Black Americans and blame them for everything. It's like you say, this man says he's 20% of the Black people he know he's good with them. It's like, well, stay over there and shut your mouth. Shut up about the rest of the 80%. Because I'm sure we could say the same thing about them. How many of us as Black Americans have had an adverse interaction with his people? Most of them, right? There's a lot of people say, yeah, most Cubans I've come across, and they kind of, right? Or also white folks or Asians. We could probably say, yeah, most of the time it's not been a really good interaction. It's been okay, but, we can't say 100% of them have been nice to us. So he ain't special. Did you call this man Ilion? Albie. Wasn't that the name of the little boy that his mama was trying to get over here, on a raft or something like that, and she didn't make it, but he did, and they had this big old fight between the United States and Cuba with the family members over here in the United States. They were, Dad, we're gonna keep him, and the daddy in Cuba was like, hell no, you ain't keeping my son. And eventually he had to go back. Was that his name? I remember that back in the day. Pop, he says, get Free Del. What you know about Del Tacos? Del Tacos for everyday labor. You better stop. But Del Taco, wow, that's a California thing. Don says the white man's ice is colder. Yep. Ricardo, how you doing? Says so, Demetra. Says the black Cubans and Haitians were turned back. Wet foot, dry foot didn't apply to them. Yeah, it's still that way to this day. I mean, we saw Biden administration do it to the Haitians. They feed. I know some of them were in the water, but technically they were in the United States or at the Texas border, right? Y'all saw them on them horses with those whips and lassos or whatever they were, rounding them up and stuff. Biden says, get them out of here. But then shortly after, we saw him let every other immigrant in this country. And then they literally said, oh, well, we don't have the money to take care of, the Haitians. So they sent them right on, like literally, next flight out. So yeah, they said that wet foot, dry foot don't apply to you. You too black, first of all. You're the wrong kind of immigrant, I guess. Hey, yo, how you doing? Said, what? He says, thank you. Ice. FM, how you doing? He says, ¿Qué es más deportation? Nadine says, when they show you that they're racist, believe them. Oh, yeah, all day long. Renz, how you doing? Did I see you earlier too, Sister Shirley? I saw you earlier as well. Nice to see you again. I'll be back tomorrow, I think, on the African Diaspora News Channel. I think I just need to find something to talk about. Oh, my God. But, yeah. But thank y'all for joining me there as well. Mr. KX, how you doing? Says they have a museum in Havana that is dedicated to the things the CIA did to take them out at all costs. Yeah, but they weren't successful. And the United States have always kind of been angry about that. Like, how y'all supposed? Yeah, we're the big bad wolf. We're supposed to be, huffing and puffing and blowing all your stuff down. It didn't work. So they've been salty forever, right? T. Austin, how you doing? Says you're right. They used the mafia to try to take him out. CIA. Fact Philip says Castro helped his people with education is the same way Ibrahim. Yep, it's almost the same thing. Maybe they, use the same playbook. Same way Ibrahim Traore is helping develop his nation. It says, and the same way U.S. tried to take out Castro is the same way U.S. tried to take out Ibrahim Traore. You're 100% right. That is a great correlation. A great correlation. Because he's literally doing the same thing that Fidel did. So good point. T.G. Hamilton says, in my area, due to ICE crackdown, school enrollment, store traffic, and loitering outside Home Depot, Lowe's, and U-Haul are all down. The international markets are full, though. Yeah, so I heard a lot of those places, the school enrollment is, so they're trying to find a way. I think Chicago did something like that to protect them and things like that. It's like, man, they're not supposed to be here. Why was they in the school anyway? Type thing. You know what I mean? That money should be used on American citizens in those schools. So, yeah, I get it. Priscilla, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Jersey City in the building. Mad Dog says the new year starts in April. Yeah, depending on what you believe, right? I kind of feel like the new year is every day because most people are like, I'm going to start January 1st. And then January 5th is like, okay, that was enough. So I think a new year is kind of every day. You always have a new day to start over, right? To change and do whatever it is you want to do. If you're trying to watch what you eat and you mess up, okay, I'll start again tomorrow. You can always start again. So yeah, you don't need to wait till the new year. So yeah. Sister Shirley says, white supremacy make like we are the dredge of society and others believe the hype. Yeah. Because what? White supremacy, they own the means of dissemination, right? They disseminate the narrative about us. They're this, they're that, they're this, they're that. And everybody's like, yeah, because they know most people who watch TV, most people who watch TV, they don't have a brain of their own. They inculcate everything. That's why they say tell lies to your vision. So they inculcate everything the television tells them. Everything. It must be true because it's on television. Oh, why would they say that? It's on television. So they know most of those people don't have the wherewithal to even try to say, well, that don't sound right. Or that sounds kind of messed up, right? So, yeah, that's why they own the media. Scoop, how you doing? Says these people continue to keep our names in their mouth. If it wasn't for the elders, they wouldn't be able to step foot in the country my ancestor built. Yep, and that's a message they need to hear often. Sister Shirley says, as long as Kamala gets to be president, we don't need what she's offering. I don't know if she will. She might even try again, right? Brother Don says, no, Libya was about the oil and the gold. Yeah, they're asking now where Libya gold and reserves are. Yeah, that was part of it. That was a big part of it. Of course, he was trying to move away from the dollar, right? That's find another system, sort of like with bricks, right? We're going to use gold or whatever it is. The United States said, over your dead body. And the rest is history. Cynthia says, throughout the Christmas holiday, I have seen many young Black men working different kinds of jobs, cashier jobs, and I love it. At the end of the day, I don't regret my vote. Yeah, I mean, you got what you voted for. You know, a lot of people got what they voted for, although they didn't vote for a lot of the things that's going on, but they got what they voted for. So, you know, Facts and Feelings says, people like this guy is the canary in the coal mine. As to what is in store for Blacks in America, these people practice genocide, and the way you spelled it, that's why I said it, against Blacks in their own countries. Blacks cling to power tools. Yeah. So you're saying we should get that like 2A type thing? Got it. Anita, how you doing? Says, how we causing trouble when we mind our Black business, so he needs to sit down somewhere. And as somebody said, it's jealousy. We're not doing anything to you. You don't need to, you know, as they say, punch down to make yourself feel good. If you all that and then some, then why you need to talk about us to make that be the case? You know, we cause the, you know, most of the problem. And I get along with white people. Say that is also show you that he's just ignorant, because you over here and you don't study history. You know, many of the white folks do something to you, then you're gonna be all up on your Facebook Live crying about it. Look what they're doing to me. And we're gonna say, and so what? Goddess, how you doing? Hope you're doing well today. Tahada in the building. How you doing? Says, hello. How's everyone doing? Cannot complain. No complaints at all. Y'all on these damn tacos. My name is Kiki. How you doing? Says, I don't worry about them folks. Yeah, same. Ilion Gonzalez. That was a little boy's name. Thank you, Brother Donovan. Thank you. Appreciate that. You don't work too hard out there. MC Fact, how you doing? Thank you so much for asking everybody to like, you know, the video and all that. And I gotta make sure I give you a wrench. I'm gonna write it down so I don't forget. I keep saying I am, but my mind is. Rhonda, how you doing? Hope you're doing well today. He says, I mean, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. Back at you. Soul Glory says the Cubans got Russian nukes. That's the only explanation for a non-American invasion that I can think of. Okay. And thank you, Mike, for asking everybody to hit the like. I love and appreciate you. Quan says Che Guevara was a very anti-Black, whereas Castro. That's what they say. You know, I've seen some, you know, I don't want to call them rumblings, but I have seen that. Right. So it's kind of, yeah. Anti-Black, whereas Castro was per se kosher towards Blacks, for example, Afeni Shakur. Yeah, come on now. He took in Mother Afeni, not Afeni Shakur, but Assata Shakur, plus other FBA liberation freedom fighters. Yeah, Assata Shakur. So yeah, we're not sending her back. Hands off, Assata. So yeah, can't be all bad, right? But yeah, I've heard some of those things about Che. No. So yeah, Brother Raven, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Says any Black person may have a couple of friends from another race, but collectively, them other races have no use for us. And these comments really are strengthening our delineation movement. We collectively get past the distraction, i.e., sports, entertainment, and other quicksand traps, and focus on the steps to rise. Then a new day is rising for us. Side note: they have said we are 13% of the population since the Last Supper. Since the Last Supper, I believe we're probably higher. Yes, that is the belief. And I can tell you when I did the census, you know, people say they're all kind of things. So you may be Black, but say I'm white. And I know I'm Black, I'm white. Like, okay, Negro. Nadine says that this time Black Americans are fighting for what is owed to our people. Black Americans have helped everyone, yet they gave Black Americans the middle finger and they behind the kids. I added that last part. Rhonda says most people don't want to research and they cannot keep us out of their mouth. Yeah, they just believe the hype, right? Reviews Fitness, how you doing? It says we can't be deported, and that's the problem. And they didn't know that. They are mad about it because they thought we weren't citizens. They just think we are descendants of slaves. Yep, that's all they deduce us down to. Slaves, right? They call slaves. Okay. Yes, brother. Facts, feelings. Sada Shakur. DeMark, how you doing? It says Blacks, Los Angeles, 8%. It says 320 to 360 Blacks. LA County, 760,000 to almost 800,000 Blacks. Inland Empire, 225 to 300,000. Yeah, that's right. We are no longer there like we used to be. It's sad. But a lot of our leadership sold us out and we help them do it. And we'll keep helping them do it until there's nobody left there, right? So yeah, thank you for that. But that is true. Nadine says, because Black Americans built this country and silos. I hope I said that right. How you doing? Says, how much have I missed? About that much. Julia, how you doing? You know what? I'll entertain it. Again, Julia's comments are I'm gonna say this. They're backhanded, okay? So Trump is exactly like us. He was born in New York City, inherited a fortune, and spent decades trying to gain media attention. I know he cares very deeply about all rural poors and who worship him. Again, that's facetious. Okay, she's being facetious. Okay. Dr. J.H. Irons, you know, you just saying calling ICE. There's some people who have done that. I ain't going to do it. You know, let everybody do it. Sunlight says, why he was Fidel Castro with Epstein? Says, why was he? We say, are you saying was he, or why? Asking why was he with Epstein? I don't know if he was with Epstein or if he's saying why you're saying they think he was with him. I don't know. I would say this about the Epstein files because, of course, you know, they started to release a lot of things. And they got Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, and I'm like, look at this white media. Of course, they would put Michael Jackson and Diana Ross up there, right? All these suckers in the file, you're going to put them as the major people. Now, mind you, they were at some sort of fundraiser or something like that. And those little blocks of people who were blocked out, that was their children. But some people thought, oh, they must have been with some underage girls or something. No, that was their children. They were there at a fundraiser, some event, right? So I say that to say everybody that was with Epstein or around Epstein, just like everybody who was around Diddy, right, did not partake in the things, and I know you're not saying that, but they didn't partake in the horrible things that Epstein did or whatever. And I would venture to say a lot of them didn't know, you know, because even with the Diddy trial, and I listened to most of it, right, or read, heard when people read the transcripts back because it was closed. They didn't bring up a lot of people like the media and different outlets and blogs saying, oh, Jay-Z and Beyonce and these and that. You didn't hear none of those people's names in there. So what I'm saying all that to say is, you know, a lot of those people probably hung out with people like that and didn't know all the illicit things that they were doing. And I know that's not what you're saying, but I'm just kind of giving it context because they got it so to where if you see them with Epstein, oh, they was doing something they wasn't supposed to be doing. They probably just really didn't know. So yeah. Z Sarah, how you doing? Says Black America's been trying to help everyone, but nobody wants to stand up for them. Well, we need to learn our lesson. But you're right, Capcom. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Reviews Fitness. I appreciate you for that. For the subscription. Thank you. Cynthia says them folks are literally trying to invoke FBAs. We're not falling for their bullshit anymore. Absolutely. And let's see. Nadine's okay. So the copper color. Yep, copper color people. Michelle, did I say hello to you? How you doing? Facts and Feelings says Castro was never with Epstein. That's why I was like, I don't know everything, right? I ain't never heard that, but again, I don't hear everything, right? I don't have my ears to the streets, my ears to the streets like that, you know. But yeah, so Castro was never with Epstein, okay? The truth is, how you doing? Since Demetra said that there are 51 million FBAs now, I have seen that. Yes, I don't doubt that there's more of us, right? Like, damn, how long are we gonna be 43 million? You know, so they got to tell us that because it's a psychological thing too. Oh, you're only 43. You're still 43 million. Well, you've been 43 million since the 60s. It's like, or whenever they did the last count. It's like, really? I would just tend to believe there's more of us as well. You know, those are the games that they play, right? And Buckler says, how about that? And Sunlight says that the photo was doctored. That photo, so you're talking about with mom, Diana Ross and Michael Jackson. Yeah, all of that, you know. But again, all these publications, they led with, Diana Ross and Michael Jackson were on Epstein Island, or it was with Epstein. It was like, that's so disingenuous. Because it led people to believe that they was doing some things that they wasn't supposed to be doing. So yeah. So somebody says, I never believed Epstein was deceased. You don't think he's deceased? You think he might be. You might be honest. Maybe he's somewhere else, you know? Stranger things have happened. They have the power to move him, right? Soul Glow says, if the names come out, America would explode. I think they would declare martial law. Maybe. But you know, this nation is kind of, that stuff is seeped into the fabric of the United States. So yeah. The Sunlight says they released pictures of Castro and Epstein, so I haven't seen it. So maybe I'll see it now that you mention it. Cynthia says, I was shocked to see Michael Jackson, King of Pop, and the boss Diana Ross in pictures. They were at a fundraiser though, so they weren't like on the island saying, hey, where the girl, they weren't even, for what I understand, they were somewhere else, or fundraiser. So they weren't there in that capacity. And again, a lot of people, maybe they didn't know, you know what I mean? I don't know if they did. I'm just saying, I don't think all people would know and be cool with, oh, it's just messing with little girls. Oh, okay, not a big deal. Where the party at? You know, I'm thinking, Mr. K actually says the fact that said Pooh was there too. Who's that? There's a lot of people hanging out with Epstein. Fast Philip says Cuban intelligence service was very good, and they have sniffed out Epstein as an agent of the apartheid state. Okay, so there is a correlation. Got you. All right. King Noble says, y'all, first black president, quote unquote, William Jefferson Clinton. In those pictures too. Yeah, he had a lot of them pictures. Is like, bro, I know Hillary done roll out all her frying pans. Pow, pow. Just weighing his back of his head out, right? But she's forgiven him for other things. I guess she's like, I know, you know, Bill Clinton, my husband is riding dirty. So anyway, listen, I'm gonna get out of here, but just want to tell y'all something. I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow. I'm gonna try, but my dear old dad, he passed away yesterday. So you know, just kind of reeling from all of that. You know, keep going. He'd want me to, you know, soldier through and do everything I was supposed to do. Wasn't going out there originally for that. My dad just kind of, you know, passed away. He was 81 years old. You know, had some health issues and things like that. So I'm gonna try to be here tomorrow. I'll be back here next week and all of that. But you know, I just thought I'd tell y'all that because I talk about my dad a lot, right? He, you know, made me who I am, imparted a lot of knowledge and all that within me. So yeah, that's why I wasn't here yesterday, because you know that was transpiring. So I just couldn't be here, obviously, for whatever reason. But and some would say, oh, you shouldn't be here today. But that's not how I was raised. Brother Samuel, yes, indeed, may Allah be pleased with him. And Brother Samuel, no, he's a Muslim. You know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But I don't know. People kind of feel it as kind of strange. Like, you're doing good. You know, y'all know how I feel about my daddy, boy. But I'm like, I was raised with the understanding of how life works, right? The premise is Allah is the best knower, right? Allah's timing is perfect. There is no mistakes, right? Our lives belong to God, and when He says, "Hey, come on back," it's the way it works. So I'm good. Well, I don't say good like, you know, I'm not phased. Obviously, I am, but I'm at peace because my dad, you know, we had a very great relationship. You know, daddy's girl, daddy's girl loved him so much. You know, all of my siblings. We made sure that my father did not have to do anything, want for anything, whatever he need. He'd be like, can you DoorDash me something? You know, he had a taste for something. Sure, daddy, you know, whatever it was, right? And he didn't drive or whatever. Can you get me an Uber right away, daddy? Whatever it was. So, you know, yeah, I'm gonna miss my dad, but I didn't think that I'd be the source of strength, because everybody knows me. There's like, you know, you can't tell her because she's not gonna take it well, but you know, by all means, I should be doing a Tasmanian devil. And don't get me wrong, I probably will one day. But I'm finding myself to be the source of, hey, cheer up. You know, that's his body. He's not here. He's now an ancestor. You know, he left so much wisdom and knowledge, and just, you know, y'all know I talk about my dad all the time. And so I think that's the best testimony for somebody, is to be a living, you know, testimony, because it doesn't do anybody any good to talk about them when they're gone. And talk about them when they're here, you know, all the things that they taught you, and, you know, just everything. So I'm at peace. Again, I'm gonna miss my dad, talk to him every day, and, you know, just love my dad. You know, if he didn't hear from me, you know, what's your problem? You know, and my dad is always laughing and smiling, even though, you know, he had health issues. It was never a day he didn't smile. I never called. I mean, he got, sometimes he'd be rare, though. It was rare. But most of the time he was jovial. He would say, "What's up, Doc?" That's most of the time how he would refer to me, or what, you know, "How you doing, Meech? What's going on?" And, you know, just, he was always just upbeat. So, you know, I'm okay with it. As it, my dad's favorite saying, it is what it is, right? So he's gone on, and, you know, energy is still here. So that's why I may or may not be missing. I'm gonna, as they say, soldier on, right? I'm a soldier on, and I do what I gotta do. But I just thought that I would tell y'all that, because, you know, I share a lot of my dad with me, and again, I could not be doing this if it wasn't for my dad. But in, you know, closing, I just like to say too, for those of y'all out there, and I've said this a lot, if you got a parent, and I see all your comments, I just can't read them because y'all gonna make me cry. But for those of y'all that have a parent out there that you don't get along with, please, you know, make it right, because you don't have forever. And as I was thinking about my dad, and I was sitting here working at my desk, I said, man, my dad is gone. I said, but that's not the last, you know, funeral or janaza. That's what he will have. That's not the last one we'll go through, right? Because we're getting older. So eventually, and it's just a circle of life. If you understand that, you built different. It's the circle of life. And so people will pass, people will come and go. It's just the way nobody is going to live forever. So I thought about that. I was like, I don't know if I want to get used to that, but we kind of got to get used to it, right? So I say all that to say, if you have somebody that you don't get along with, your parents or whatever, knock it off. Because as my dad used to always say, you can't undo yesterday. You can't undo yesterday. You got to move forward. People aren't perfect. People have made mistakes. They're going to make mistakes, but you forgive them anyway, not depending on what the mistake is, right? But you got to, I know people who, I don't really talk to my mom or my dad. It's just, I'm telling you, when this day comes, that is going to decide how you handle it, because we all have seen people whose parents have passed away and they didn't get along. I'm not talking to my mom or my daddy. And guess what they're doing? They're the main ones doing the torpedo rolls in the pews, running all down the aisles and jumping in the casket, and, oh, my mama, my daddy. And it's like, because I would see, and we've all seen people do it, right? And they're like, wow. Now I get it, you know. I lost my mama. Y'all know I lost my mama, and I was devastated, but I didn't do no casket dive type thing. But as I get older and I talk to people and I see they have strained relationships with the parents, and I say, that's why. Because now they're thinking about the woulda, shoulda, coulda, if only I could have, and I didn't, and I should. So all of that. And then they start thinking, only if I had more time. I just have 5 minutes more with them. I try to stuff everything that I couldn't and I wouldn't do because I was mad in that 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes and I could tell them how much I love them. And I'm sorry because I didn't, call you. And I just give me 5. You don't get that. You know what you get? You get to sit in the decisions you made because you made it all about you. You felt a way about your parents. I'm speaking about your parents. Other people, whatever, right? Your siblings, your parents, yeah. But you felt the way. You was going to die on the hill of, I'm gone, you ain't going to tell me. And here you are. So now you got to sit with the guilt. You got to have that ruminate in your mind. that they're no longer here and there's nothing I can do to fix it. So I'm telling you, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, make it right now. Make it right. Because you know, I'm built a little bit differently. Like I said, my daddy was tough. Okay. Listening to all the brothers tell the stories about my dad. And of course, I always knew those things. You know, they said you couldn't hang around Brother Walter if he was a punk. They all said that. I mean, they told a copious amounts of stories about my father. I told y'all, my daddy was about that life. And that he's no longer here, I think I could say. My daddy might have gotten rid of a couple of liquor stores in his day that wasn't treating people in the neighborhood right. I think I could say that now. So my dad, you know, was a soldier in the true sense of the word. But I just say that to y'all is please make sure that you know, reach out and talk to your parents or whatever it is and say it's not that serious, because when they're gone, they're gone. There's no do-overs. And in the words of my dear father, you can't undo yesterday. So anyway, I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. I'm going to try to come back here tomorrow, although I have a flight to catch tomorrow night, but I think I might have some time, but definitely I'll be on the African Diaspora News Channel tomorrow. So in the meantime, and thank y'all so much for, you know, the condolences and all that. Again, I can't look because I will cry. So in the meantime, y'all have a great rest of your evening. Peace.